Have you ever wondered how monks from centuries past would handle the non-stop pace, digital overload, and shifting demands of modern life? While our era seems light years away from a secluded monastery, the core challenges, finding balance, managing stress, and living with purpose, remain strikingly familiar. Monks throughout history have tackled these dilemmas, developing approaches that emphasize inner awareness, compassion, and mindful discipline. What if the ancient wisdom they honed in secluded temples could actually help us thrive in today's bustling environment? In this script, we'll explore how monk practices intersect with modern realities, and how we can adapt time-tested principles to our daily hustle. The heart of monastic living. Monastic life is often associated with silence, simplicity, and solitude. At its core, however, it's about commitment to mindfulness, ethical conduct, and spiritual growth. Centuries ago, monks in various traditions, from Buddhist to Christian, set aside worldly pursuits to focus on the mind and spirit. Their days included meditation or prayer, communal work, and study, all structured around self-reflection and harmony with others. This might seem at odds with modern life, where endless to-do lists and digital connectivity keep our minds perpetually revved up. But at the root, we share a common desire to live meaningfully and minimize inner turmoil. While a monk's environment is designed to reduce distractions, our daily context bombards us with them. Yet the principles of monastic living, mindful presence, disciplined routine, and ethical engagement can bridge the gap. The aim isn't to copy monks exactly, but to glean their approach of training the mind and soul, then apply it in more hectic circumstances. Through this lens, the differences between a monastery and modern society become less stark. Both revolve around grappling with human nature, managing desires, fears, and attachments. The monk's environment may be cloistered, but the challenges, loneliness, doubt, or boredom, are universal. That's why their insights can resonate across centuries and lifestyles, guiding us toward calm and purpose even in a hyperactive world. The modern mind. Why we're so distracted. Smartphones, social media, and the 24-hour news cycle provide instant gratification and endless stimuli. On one hand, these tools link us globally, offering convenience and innovation. On the other, they can erode focus, feed anxiety, and foster a perpetual fear of missing out. Monks from earlier eras faced fewer external triggers but still observed that the human mind is inherently restless, prone to daydreams, cravings, and fears. Buddha labeled this tendency the monkey mind, jumping ceaselessly from branch to branch. In our environment, the monkey mind is fed by algorithms and notifications designed to capture and hold attention. We feel compelled to respond to every beep, check every email, and remain productive. Yet, productivity often slips into spinning our wheels, drained by mental fragmentation. Monastic tradition teaches that clarity emerges from pausing, simplifying, and focusing on the present. Our addiction to incessant stimulation blocks that clarity, amplifying stress and dissatisfaction. Learning from monks means adopting strategies to tame mental scatter, like setting digital boundaries, embracing mindful breaks, or dedicating specific times for reflection. While we can't entirely escape notifications or tasks, we can choose how to engage them. Each deliberate pause or choice to turn off a device echoes monastic discipline, reclaiming the power to direct our attention rather than letting the world direct it for us. Simplicity and routine, foundations of focus. Monastic life thrives on simplicity. Few belongings, deliberate routines, and a clear schedule anchored by meditation or prayer. This simplicity reduces mental clutter, letting monks concentrate on cultivating peace and insight. Today, we accumulate physical and digital clutter, closets overflowing with clothes, inboxes stuffed with old emails, device home screens packed with apps. Overwhelming choice and visual noise can fatigue the mind, fueling procrastination or decision paralysis. Take a cue from monks by systematically removing non-essentials. This might mean curating your belongings to what you truly value, unsubscribing from endless email lists, or limiting social media to certain hours. Such conscious simplification frees mental bandwidth, making space for deliberate action rather than reactive busyness. Another monastic hallmark is routine, a predictable rhythm for meals, chores, study, and rest. While modern schedules can be erratic, creating basic rituals like a consistent wake-up time or dedicated focus blocks for work grounds us. These routines don't stifle spontaneity. They free us from constant decision-making about mundane details. By weaving pockets of structured calm into your day, whether a morning mindfulness session or a simple meal without scrolling your phone, you echo the monastic principle of centering life around purposeful intervals of attention. That centeredness can be a vital antidote to the usual mania of everyday living: mind training, meditation, and mindfulness. Both ancient monks and modern practitioners recognize that meditation is a direct route to taming the restless mind. For monks, daily meditation anchors them in the present, cultivating a watchful awareness that reveals how thoughts and emotions arise. That same capacity to notice mental shifts without being jerked around by them is immensely valuable in a digital age rife with temptations. A typical beginner's practice might be a 10-minute daily meditation focusing on breath or body sensations. Each time a thought intrudes, planning dinner, recalling an argument, you gently note it and return to the focal point. Over days and weeks, you develop mental stamina. Monastic life often extends this practice to hours of silent sitting, but even short sessions can sharpen focus, reduce stress, and build emotional resilience. Mindfulness, a related concept, extends meditative attention to routine tasks: walking, eating, listening. Instead of letting your mind drift, you anchor it in real-time experience. Why is this so potent? If your mind is accustomed to switching tasks or looking for the next notification, it has scant ability to rest in stillness. Meditation reteaches the mind to pause, observe, and let go. It's not about forcing calm, but discovering it beneath mental clutter. In the modern swirl of demands, these methods shine as portable strategies for regaining composure and perspective anytime, anywhere. Compassion and service, expanding beyond the self. Monastic wisdom highlights that compassion toward oneself and others isn't a luxury, but a cornerstone of balanced living. Ancient monks didn't simply meditate in caves. They often engaged in communal chores, charity, and mentorship, seeing all beings as interconnected. This ethos can transform modern life as well, shifting our focus from incessant self-improvement to community well-being. Compassion in action might be volunteering, helping a colleague catch up on a project, or simply offering a listening ear. While it might sound like an added burden to an already crowded schedule, acts of kindness actually nourish emotional resilience. They counter the selfish anxieties that can breed loneliness or competition. By caring for others, you also ease your own mental burdens, fostering empathy, gratitude, and mutual support. Moreover, compassion extended inward helps reduce burnout. Monks remind us that you can't pour from an empty cup. Self-care and rest are integral. Instead of chasing perpetual achievement, compassionate self-awareness encourages pacing, acknowledging stress, and seeking balance. This synergy of outward kindness and inward gentleness breaks the cycle of isolation or exploitation sometimes seen in highly competitive environments. In short, applying monastic compassion can rekindle a sense of human connection that modern life, for all its connectivity, often lacks. Ethical frameworks guiding today's choices. Buddhist monks adhere to ethical precepts like refraining from harm, stealing, lying, sexual misconduct, or intoxication. These aren't arbitrary rules, but tools for mental clarity and peaceful coexistence. Modern life, however, wrestles with ethical gray zones, social media misinformation, consumer exploitation, and environmental strains that can intensify stress or guilt if we act heedlessly. Translating monastic ethics to contemporary challenges might involve reevaluating your digital conduct. Are you spreading half-truths or fueling negativity? Alternatively, you might examine your purchasing habits, considering fair trade options or reduced waste. This isn't about moral perfection, but alignment with values. Such alignment fosters integrity, which in turn reduces mental friction. When you act in ways consistent with your core beliefs, you experience less turmoil and more self-respect. Monks show that ethical discipline sets a foundation for a calm mind. Guilt, fear, or self-doubt often stem from acting against one's conscience. By adhering to a personal code, like mindful social media use, responsible consumption, or honest communication, you cultivate internal harmony. That harmony is a stepping stone to deeper mental peace and a sense of trust in oneself. Buddha exemplified that genuine serenity emerges when our everyday decisions reflect compassion and truthfulness, bridging monastic clarity with modern moral dilemmas. Fusing monastic insights into your modern schedule. The final challenge is blending monastic principles into a day already packed with errands, responsibilities, and digital chaos. Start small with micro practices. Maybe you begin your morning with a 5-minute meditation or end your evening by journaling a gratitude list. Turn mundane tasks, like dishwashing or commuting, into mindful moments. Switch your phone to silent for short intervals to mimic monastic quiet. Over time, these mini habits accumulate, forging a robust framework of calm amidst commotion. Another tactic is setting intentional boundaries. Block out time for uninterrupted work, device-free family dinners, or offline weekends. Such boundaries mirror monastic retreats, granting your mind respite from perpetual stimulation. While your environment isn't a cloister, you can establish pockets of retreat at home or in nature, using them as mental refresh zones. Finally, consider a supportive network. Monks rely on sanghas, communities of fellow practitioners, for encouragement and accountability. You might join a meditation group, a mindful living forum, or connect with friends who share similar aspirations. These relationships fuel motivation, as you see others balancing modern demands with ancient wisdom. The synergy from these connections helps you stay consistent, turning monastic insights into lived experiences rather than fleeting ideals. Monastic life and modern reality might appear worlds apart, but the underlying human quest to reduce suffering and find deeper meaning remains the same. By integrating monk-inspired mindfulness, ethical clarity, and community support, you can transform daily chaos into a pathway for spiritual and emotional growth. Which principle resonates with you most? Setting boundaries, embracing compassion, or crafting a mindful routine? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this exploration sparked new insights, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Monk Mindset, for more ways to merge ancient wisdom with contemporary challenges. May your journey be calm, purposeful, and ever-evolving. In the hustle of modern life, have you ever paused to consider just how transformative a single act of kindness can be? Each of us faces busy schedules, endless notifications, and the tug of competing obligations. Yet the timeless lessons of figures like Buddha remind us that compassion and genuine care for others aren't just niceties, they're profound forces of change. In this journey, we'll explore how kindness, rooted in ancient wisdom, can become the guiding light that reshapes our world, starting with our own hearts. The seeds of kindness. Kindness may seem simple, yet its roots run deeper than most realize. Buddha's early teachings emphasize that the smallest considerate action can reverberate far beyond its initial moment. Imagine offering a genuine smile or a comforting word when someone least expects it. These gentle gestures plant seeds of connection and hope. Over time, these seeds flourish, touching countless lives in unseen ways. In a world awash with social media updates and endless distractions, it's easy to forget the power in these brief human exchanges. Buddha encouraged mindfulness so that we remain present enough to see the tiny, flickering opportunities for compassion each day. By recognizing these openings, we awaken not only our own empathy, but also our capacity for growth. Observing our motives, pausing to ask if our actions stem from genuine warmth rather than pride, can make all the difference between fleeting niceness and meaningful kindness. Once we attune ourselves to the frequency of compassionate intent, we begin to elevate ordinary moments into experiences that nurture both the giver and the receiver. The ripple effect of compassion. While a kind deed might unfold in the quiet space between two people, its influence can cascade through entire communities. Picture a stone tossed into a still pond. The initial splash is small, but the ripples extend outward in widening circles. Buddha understood the expansive nature of kindness, suggesting that each compassionate act creates waves that gently intersect with one another. This chain reaction reveals that no gesture is too trivial to matter. Even offering a few minutes to listen attentively or sending a thoughtful message can brighten another person's perspective, prompting them to share that warmth further. Before long, kindness weaves a supportive network across neighborhoods, workplaces, and online spaces. In a digital age prone to short-lived trends and viral negativity, a simple positive thought or benevolent gesture can pierce through cynicism. By acknowledging that every act of kindness bears the potential to multiply, we affirm our collective responsibility to sustain these waves. In essence, kindness is never private. It flourishes in public, forming an invisible yet potent bond among us all. How kindness transforms the self. It's often said that we become what we practice. If we practice impatience, we cultivate restlessness. If we practice greed, we fuel dissatisfaction. But by embracing kindness, we open up realms of inner transformation that Buddha championed as essential to true liberation. Kindness quiets the incessant demands of our ego, softening the harsh inner dialogue that so often chips away at our well-being. Over time, this shift cultivates a sense of self that is both more confident and more at peace. When we step outside our own bubble to empathize with another's journey, we discover an unexpected byproduct: personal clarity. The desire to be right or to assert dominance melts in the face of genuine human connection. Daily irritations lose their sting as we realign our priorities, seeing the bigger picture of unity and collective growth. With kindness, we also experience a boost in emotional resilience. Life's setbacks and disappointments become less crippling because our focus moves beyond just ourselves. In turn, the kindness we offer the world returns in subtle ways, reinforcing a cycle of mutual uplift, bridging monastic wisdom with modern pressures. In Buddha's time, the pace of life may have been slower, but human emotions and personal struggles were as real as they are today. Monastic communities existed not to isolate themselves permanently, but to deepen their understanding of the human condition. From that vantage point, they brought forward timeless insights applicable to every era. Consider how mindfulness techniques, sitting quietly with one's breath, resonate in an age flooded with digital stimuli. In a similar vein, the monastic emphasis on compassion offers a powerful counterbalance to our culture's focus on efficiency. Kindness becomes a form of rebellion against the relentless push to produce or consume. Even in the tightest schedules, a moment to share encouragement, to check in on a friend, or to volunteer one's time can counteract the fragmentation so many of us feel. These teachings guide us to see that kindness is not merely a sentimental notion. It is a disciplined practice that can be woven into our high-speed routines. Monastic wisdom invites us to ask whether our daily actions uplift or divide. In that simple inquiry, we come face to face with the real power of compassion. Turning compassion inward. Sometimes the hardest person to be kind to is ourselves. We criticize our perceived shortcomings and replay mistakes in our minds as if they define us. Yet Buddha's teachings suggest that compassion is incomplete if it doesn't include self-compassion. By engaging in gentle self-reflection, we learn to treat our inner struggles as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. This shift in perspective transforms failure from a label into a learning opportunity. Modern life, with its endless highlight reels, fosters comparison and a sense of never measuring up. Kindness to ourselves breaks that pattern, reminding us that each path is unique and that growth is rarely linear. Extending the same empathy we offer others to our own imperfections fosters emotional equilibrium. Instead of spiraling into shame or stress, we develop a sense of patient understanding toward our journey. Over time, this nurtures a confident, grounded disposition that radiates outward. In practicing inward kindness, we generate a more stable platform from which to engage with the world, reinforcing the truth that care given to oneself is not selfish, but a prerequisite for authentic connection. Overcoming obstacles to kindness. Despite our best intentions, barriers to kindness arise. Busyness, cynicism, fear, or simple forgetfulness. Buddha was aware of these mental hindrances that dilute our capacity for compassion. Think of the overwhelming workload or the barrage of troubling news, each an invitation to retreat into indifference. Yet, the practice of kindness is most potent when tested by difficulty. By consciously pausing when stress spikes or skepticism creeps in, we reclaim the choice to respond empathetically rather than react defensively. This pause is not about denying tough realities. It's about acknowledging them without letting them overshadow our innate impulse to care. With consistent mindfulness, we see each hurdle as an opportunity to deepen kindness. Whether it's dealing with an unkind remark or navigating a tense negotiation, empathy shines through when we perceive that others, too, carry burdens. Embracing this awareness diffuses hostility, allowing a heartfelt exchange to grow from what might otherwise be a standoff. Compassion, then, isn't a passive surrender. It's a deliberate choice to maintain humanity, especially when circumstances tempt us to abandon it. The generosity of forgiveness. Forgiveness embodies one of the highest forms of kindness, requiring courage, empathy, and humility. Buddha's parables repeatedly highlight how holding onto grudges ties us to suffering. When we cling to resentment, we remain bound to a cycle of hurt. But by choosing forgiveness, we cut those ties and free ourselves to move forward. This doesn't trivialize the harm done. Rather, it acknowledges that compassion for both self and the offender can pave a healthier path. In modern life, the notion of forgive and forget can seem naive, yet there's quiet wisdom in releasing the bitterness that accumulates when we hang on to anger. Doing so demands we relinquish the desire for retribution and cultivate compassion instead, even if we maintain necessary boundaries for our well-being. In that delicate dance of letting go, we tap into a reservoir of kindness that fosters profound healing. Though it may challenge our pride, the act of forgiveness becomes a statement of emotional freedom. We affirm that our hearts are not confined by the wounds of the past, but open to the prospect of reconciliation and growth, creating a kindness movement. When communities unite in kindness, we witness transformations that extend beyond individuals. Picture workplaces that prioritize empathy, families that nurture emotional warmth, or online forums that model respectful dialogue. These changes begin with tiny steps: someone championing inclusive policies, a neighbor organizing a shared garden, or a friend calling just to check in. Buddha's insight teaches us that when compassion is not merely a sporadic act but a sustained mindset, it alters the culture around us. Each person who decides to prioritize kindness, whether through consistent volunteer efforts or simply offering encouraging words, contributes to a collective shift. The more of us who join in, the more profound the effects become. As cynicism wanes and trust grows, communities become safer, more supportive environments where everyone can thrive. Each day presents a choice: to perpetuate division or to spark a small flame of goodwill. Over time, those flames converge, illuminating a path forward where kindness stands as an undeniable force for good. In that light, we see that ancient teachings on compassion are not relics of a bygone era, but living philosophies that renew our modern world. Kindness truly is a power that transcends ages, bridging ancient insights and modern struggles in one continuous thread of hope. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing to Monk Mindset, my YouTube channel dedicated to exploring these timeless teachings in everyday contexts. Through openness and shared stories, we nourish each other's kindness, building a collective spirit that lights the way. How will you carry forward the power of kindness today? Join the conversation and let's keep this movement alive. Have you ever felt trapped by your own thoughts? As if your mind is a never-ending whirlpool? What if you could break free from the constant noise and find true peace? Just like the monks who've mastered their minds, you too can learn how to control your thoughts and gain control over your life. In today's video, we'll dive into the teachings of Gautama Buddha and discover practical steps to quiet the chaos within. Ready to take charge of your mind? Let's begin. Understanding the nature of the mind. The mind is often compared to a restless monkey, jumping from thought to thought, driven by desires, fears, and distractions. This chaotic nature is something Gautama Buddha deeply understood. He taught that the mind, in its natural state, is easily swayed by external influences and constantly seeks pleasure while avoiding discomfort. This creates mental turbulence and anxiety. To control your thoughts, the first step is to recognize this inherent restlessness. Buddha emphasized that you are not your thoughts. They are fleeting, ever-changing, and do not define who you are. The key is to observe your thoughts without becoming attached to them. When we engage with every thought that arises, we fuel it, allowing it to control us. However, when we observe thoughts with a detached awareness, we begin to see them for what they truly are: transient events that come and go like clouds in the sky. Mindfulness is a powerful tool here. By practicing mindful awareness, you can learn to watch your thoughts without reacting to them. This allows you to create a space between stimulus and reaction, where you can choose how to respond instead of being swept away by your mind's turbulence. With consistent practice, you'll start to understand the nature of your mind, its habits, tendencies, and patterns, giving you the power to control your thoughts instead of letting them control you. Practicing mindfulness in every moment. Buddha taught that mindfulness is the path to mental clarity and peace. Mindfulness is not just a practice you do during meditation, it's a way of living. It's the art of being fully present in each moment, free from distractions or judgments. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly pulled between past regrets and future anxieties. Mindfulness teaches us to anchor ourselves in the present, breaking free from the cycle of mental chaos. To control your thoughts like a monk, you must begin by cultivating mindfulness in simple, everyday moments. Start with your breath. Take a few deep breaths, paying attention to the sensation of air entering and leaving your body. As thoughts arise, gently let them pass, like leaves floating down a stream, and bring your focus back to your breath. This practice can be extended to all aspects of life, while eating, walking, or even when engaging in conversations. When you truly listen to others without thinking about your response, you create space for clarity and understanding. You are not reacting to your thoughts or impulses, you are simply present. Over time, this practice trains the mind to be more focused, less distracted, and more aware of the present moment. As you embrace mindfulness, you'll notice a shift in your thoughts, less noise, more peace, and a deeper connection to the world around you. This is the first step in gaining control over your thoughts and finding mental freedom. Letting go of attachment to thoughts. Buddha's teachings emphasize that attachment is the root of suffering, and this extends to our thoughts. We often find ourselves clinging to certain thoughts, whether they're related to past experiences, fears about the future, or desires that fuel our ego. When we become attached to these thoughts, we give them power over us. They dictate our emotions, actions, and even our sense of self. To control your thoughts like a monk, you must practice the art of letting go. This means not allowing yourself to be consumed by any one thought or emotion. When a thought arises, whether positive or negative, acknowledge it, but don't hold on to it. Let it pass through your mind like a cloud drifting across the sky. Buddha taught that everything in life is impermanent, including our thoughts. When we let go of our attachment to them, we free ourselves from the mental suffering they create. This doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring thoughts. Rather, it's about recognizing that they are not permanent and that they do not define who we are. By practicing detachment, you begin to break free from the emotional reactions that thoughts often trigger. You learn to observe your thoughts without judgment, without trying to control them, and without allowing them to shape your reality. In this way, you regain the power to choose which thoughts you nurture and which you let go, allowing your mind to become a peaceful and balanced space. Observing without judgment. One of the core teachings of Buddha is the practice of observing without judgment. Our minds are quick to categorize and label thoughts, labeling them as good or bad, right or wrong. This judgmental approach often reinforces attachment and emotional responses, trapping us in a cycle of mental turmoil. However, true control over your thoughts comes from observing them without attaching labels or judgments. Buddha encouraged mindfulness with equanimity, a balanced mind that neither rejects nor clings to any thought. When you practice this, you begin to see your thoughts more clearly. Instead of labeling them, you acknowledge their presence and allow them to pass naturally, like waves in the ocean. This practice is not about controlling thoughts, but about letting them arise and fade without getting swept up in them. Imagine a cloud drifting across the sky. We don't judge it or try to hold on to it, we simply watch it, understanding that it will move on. This same approach can be applied to your thoughts. By observing them without judgment, you no longer allow them to dictate your emotions or actions. You are no longer defined by your thoughts, but remain the observer, the peaceful witness to whatever arises in your mind. As you cultivate this practice, you'll find that your mind becomes more at peace, free from the pressure of constantly evaluating or reacting to every thought that comes up. This simple shift in perspective can bring immense clarity and tranquility. The power of meditation. Meditation is at the heart of Buddhist practice and is a powerful tool for controlling your thoughts. Buddha taught that through meditation, we can train our minds to become more focused, disciplined, and peaceful. In today's world, our minds are constantly bombarded with distractions, work, social media, worries about the future. But meditation offers us a space to step away from the noise and reconnect with our inner stillness. To control your thoughts like a monk, meditation is essential. Start with simple practices such as focusing on your breath. Sit in a quiet place, close your eyes, and bring your awareness to the sensation of the breath entering and leaving your body. As thoughts arise, acknowledge them without judgment and gently return your focus to your breath. This process strengthens the mind's ability to focus and cultivates a sense of inner calm. Meditation also allows us to observe the patterns of our thoughts, what tends to trigger anxiety, what brings us joy, what thoughts we hold on to, and which we let go of. Over time, meditation teaches us to disengage from the automatic, habitual thoughts that often drive our behavior and emotions. By practicing meditation regularly, you create space between your thoughts and reactions. This space is where control lies. It's where you can choose how to respond to life, rather than being swept away by the endless stream of thoughts. Through consistent practice, meditation becomes a powerful tool for mastering your mind and creating a deep sense of peace and clarity. Cultivating compassion and loving kindness. Buddha's teachings emphasize that cultivating compassion and loving kindness is essential to mastering the mind. When we practice compassion not only towards others, but also towards ourselves, we begin to shift our mental focus from negativity and self-criticism to acceptance and understanding. Thoughts of anger, resentment, and fear often arise when we feel disconnected from others or overwhelmed by the world. By nurturing compassion, we transform these thoughts into ones of empathy, connection, and peace. To control your thoughts like a monk, begin by practicing loving-kindness meditation. This practice involves silently repeating phrases like, "May I be happy, may I be safe, may I live with ease," and then extending these wishes to others, friends, strangers, and even those with whom you may have conflicts. This simple practice fosters a mental shift that promotes positive thoughts and emotional healing. When you embrace compassion, your thoughts naturally begin to reflect a more loving perspective. Instead of holding on to grudges or judgments, you learn to let them go and replace them with forgiveness and understanding. The more you cultivate compassion, the more your mind becomes a peaceful space, free from the clutter of negative emotions. This practice also helps quiet the ego, which often drives unhealthy thought patterns. By prioritizing the well-being of others and extending love without expectations, you create a space where your thoughts are not driven by selfish desires or fears, but by kindness and generosity. This shift leads to greater mental clarity and emotional resilience. Understanding impermanence. One of Buddha's most profound teachings is the concept of impermanence, or anicca. Everything in life is transient: our thoughts, emotions, and even our physical bodies. Recognizing the impermanent nature of all things can radically change how we relate to our thoughts. So often, we get attached to thoughts, believing they define us or that they will last forever. This attachment creates suffering. However, when we understand that everything, including our thoughts, is temporary, we gain the ability to let go. To control your thoughts like a monk, begin by reflecting on the impermanence of all mental states. Thoughts that seem overwhelming or troubling will eventually pass, just as joyous or pleasant thoughts will also fade. By embracing this understanding, you stop clinging to any particular thought or emotional state. Instead, you begin to see them as passing moments that come and go, like waves in the ocean. This realization helps you detach from negative or overwhelming thoughts, knowing they are not permanent and do not define your true nature. When you hold the understanding of impermanence close, it becomes easier to observe your thoughts with less attachment. You stop reacting to every fleeting thought or emotion and begin to experience greater mental freedom. The key is to allow thoughts to arise and pass without holding on to them. In doing so, you allow your mind to become less cluttered and more at peace, living in harmony with the natural flow of life's transience. Mastering your thoughts like a monk is a journey of mindfulness, detachment, and compassion. By embracing Buddha's teachings on impermanence, meditation, and loving kindness, you can find true peace within the chaos of modern life. Remember, the power to control your mind lies not in resisting your thoughts, but in observing them with awareness and understanding. If this video helped you, subscribe to Monk Mindset for more insights on living a peaceful, mindful life.